Right, let's bring you more on the developments in Iran as we are speaking now to Thembisa Fakude, who is, of course, our expert on international affairs as we look to some of the big stories of the day. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Fakude. Iran is striking for the hits on its nuclear facilities over the weekend after vowing to retaliate against Washington. I mean, these strikes occurred even as we heard warnings from U.S. President Donald Trump that should Iran strike back, the U.S.'s response will be far greater. What do you make of the move?
Yeah, well, if I got the question correctly, it's a bit, I couldn't hear it properly. But anyway, yeah, the situation still seems to be escalating. Iran is obviously retaliating, and it retaliated in by hitting Al Udeid military camp, which is the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. And of course, that has created anxiety, particularly in Qatar, which has been very friendly and supportive of Iran. So we don't know what this is going to do. Donald Trump has warned Iran not to retaliate. And we have to wait and see what will happen after this, because if this was indeed agreed upon, as many people are saying, and it was symbolic, you are likely to have it ending now. But if Donald Trump decided otherwise, you are likely to have escalation.
Because what we had heard is that the Trump administration had maintained that it was just to destroy Iran's nuclear program and not to open a wider war, up until we saw that social media post with Donald Trump now saying that, entertaining the idea of a regime change in Tehran in that social media post on Sunday. Which direction does the so-called tit for tat appear to be heading, especially as Iran, as we know, is interacting with Russia, getting backing from one of its last major power friends for its next steps?
Yeah, well, the reaction is likely to disturb a lot of stability in the region, but the entering in the fray, I mean, we've heard that, for example, the Iranians have delivered a letter to Vladimir Putin. We don't know what's contained in the letter, but the belief is that they were asking for assistance. But to correctly put it, Donald Trump has said that he doesn't want to escalate. The purpose was to destroy and suppress the possibility of nuclear proliferation in Iran, and Donald Trump has said the mission was achieved. But of course, Benjamin Netanyahu has got his own objectives and intentions. He's a warmonger who would like to see this war protracted, because he knows that as long as he kicks the can down the road, he's likely to remain in his position as the Prime Minister of Israel. So a lot depends on what's going to happen now that the Iranians have retaliated and hit the U.S. base, notwithstanding that they were warned not to do so by Donald Trump. And second, it also depends on what Israel does after this. If Israel continues to attack the installations in Iran, you are likely to have this getting out of control. But at the same time, the talk about the regime change in Iran has also created new problems, because if the Ayatollah and the Iranians view this as a zero-sum game, you're likely to have them going all out, because they will have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
We just hope that's not the case. We hope that the statements from senior officials from the United States that the United States are not interested in regime change is true. And if that is true, and we also hope, of course, that there's not going to be a cycle of violence following the retaliation by Iran in targeting Al Udeid, U.S. Army in Qatar.
Yeah. With the Russian President Vladimir Putin condemning the attacks after meeting with Iran's foreign minister in Moscow, he said that it was absolutely unprovoked aggression against Iran, and it had no basis and no justification. What kind of message does Moscow's backing now send to the U.S. if now the moves are going to be made? Hopefully not, but in terms of messaging, what is it sending?
Well, it's a serious threatening statement, but Vladimir Putin is currently on a back foot. He's battling his own war, which he promised to finish in a few weeks when he started the war in 2023. And till today, he's still battling the Ukrainians. So I'm not sure whether he'll be willing to participate. In fact, has written off the possibility of him assisting in Iran in this regard, nor getting involved in this war. But the Russians are also business people. They've been benefiting a lot in terms of selling of arms, particularly to countries such as Iran, and also exchange of technology. So they might be assisting the Iranians in a different way. And I think that's why it was significant that the message from the Iranians, particularly Ayatollah Khamenei, to Vladimir Putin was in a form of a letter, so that there were no leaks. So what I see happening, we're going to continue seeing rhetoric coming up from all sides, including Russia. And the other thing is that Russia can't afford to enter this fray because at least over 2-3 million Israelis speak Russian or of Russian descent. So there's a sizable number of Russians in Israel, and they go to and fro from Russia. Most of them hold dual citizenship. So Russia has got Russians in Israel, and the more this continues, of course, Russia continue to get concerned, but it can't be seen to be targeting its own people in Israel.
Very well. Thank you so much for that. Of course, looking and wrapping up some of the details around the developing story internationally, Thembisa Fakude, Senior Research Fellow and, of course, International Relations Expert.